Hey everybody, this is Sean Riley with Riley Real Estate and MassHomesale.com with this week's Q&A Saturday video. This week I'm going to answer the question of how do you find a house's ARV. So ARV stands for After Repair Value. So this is how much a house should be worth if it's in like perfect conditions. So if a house needs work and you do the work to it, what should you be able to sell it for afterwards? So this is really the most important number for somebody who is going to be buying, fixing, and reselling a house. It's also very important for anybody who is going to work on finding those kind of deals and reselling to somebody like myself who does fixing and reselling of properties. It's also very important for any real estate agent who's working with investors for them to understand what the house is going to be worth afterwards. And it's really good for any agent to understand, to be able to explain to any kind of buyers and sellers they're working with. And it's also good for a seller to understand, because if they want to fix problems with their home before selling it, they should know what it's going to be worth the way it is now, and how much it's going to be worth if they do all the work and figure out if it's worth doing the work or not. So anyway, excuse me. So the way to figure out the ARV for a house is, first of all, any way to figure out the value of a house, you use the comparable sales method, known as finding the comps for a house. This is what appraisers do. This is what real estate agents do when they give sort of an analysis or value opinion. So what you do is you find recent sales of houses that are the most similar to the one that you are, if you're the seller trying to sell, if you're the buyer, the one you're looking to buy. The easiest way to do this is if you have access to the multiple listing service, MLS, which you do if you are an agent, or if you are working with an agent, they should be able to do this for you. You can find the stuff on things like Zillow and Trulia and all those kind of websites. Something like Zillow, so we did a video a while back on how bad these estimates on Zillow are, their value estimator. Don't look at those at all. That's not what we're talking about. You can go on Zillow and find the actual data for stuff that has sold in the neighborhood of the places that you're looking at. That data is useful. It's a lot harder to find it and sort it and stuff than if you have the MLS, but you know, if you're willing to work for it, you can find the information that you need. But again, the easiest thing is on MLS. If you can do that, usually you can do a proximity search around a house. So you generally want to have stuff that's very close into the neighborhood. Quarter a mile is great. If you need to go out as far as half a mile, generally, unless you're in a very, very rural area, you try not to go much more than a half mile out to find comparable sales. You also want the most recent stuff. If you can find a lot of stuff within the last 3 months, that's great. You generally don't want to go back farther than 6 months, again, unless there's not very much inventory and it's very hard to find. And then you want to find the places that are the most similar. You generally want to try to find the same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms, as close to the same square footage you can. Plus or minus 10% is usually okay. Go up to 20%. You get much more than that, it's going to change a little bit. And then if you can find, it's better if you can find the same style. It's better if you can find stuff that's roughly the same age. Those, I think, are a little bit lower down on the list. If you can find them, that's great. But especially in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and stuff, you do have a much bigger range of both types and ages of homes that are that could be on the same streets, so that can be a little bit harder sometimes. You can even adjust for bedrooms and bathrooms and stuff like that, but like I said, you want to try to get as close as possible. So once you find several of these comparable sales that are very close to the same house and have happened fairly recently, you generally want at least 3. You probably don't want to look at more than 4 or 5, because then it starts getting difficult. So you want to pick your best 3 to 5 and basically try to adjust for any differences there are. If you find one that's about the same square footage, same number of bedrooms, but has an extra half bathroom, you want to try to adjust for that. It'll be worth different amounts in different places, so I'm not going to say, oh, you adjust it up or down $5,000. That might be good in some places, it might be too little in others, too much in other places. So you kind of have to know the area that you're looking at too to really make a good adjustment. And then you also need to adjust for any kind of problems there might be. So if the house you're looking at is on a busy street, but all the comparable sales are on the side streets, you want a discount for that. And vice versa, if yours is on the side street, but all the comps were on the busy street, you might be able to get a little bit more. I tend to be more cautious on adding onto those kind of sales when you have a problem property, but you definitely want to subtract from those. So I've done a lot of houses on busy streets where you have the stuff on the side streets. I want to discount that at least 10%. It could be more if it's a really busy street. It could be more if there's a bigger problem. You know, if you have a place that has train tracks in the back and all your comparables are on the other side of the street where you can't see or hear the train, it's going to be worth less. So you have to take those kind of things into account. We work with a lot of problem properties and we're pretty good at valuing them. A lot of other investors don't like that, so you know, we are definitely some of the people to come to if you are looking to sell a place. Like I said, it's on a busy street, on train tracks, or you know, those are some of the more common problems. But you know, any kind of weird locational issue. You know, we actually did a project that was across the street from a sewer plant. Most people won't touch that, but we knew how to value it, and we got a good enough deal on it that it was worth doing. And the people who bought it afterwards got a great deal because I had to discount it dramatically from other places in the town because it was next to a sewer plant. Excuse me. So, main things for finding, so ARV, after repair value, the value of a house after it is fixed up. Most important thing is to find the comparable sales that are close and that have happened recently. Then you have to find similar properties, preferably same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms, very close in the square footage. The more that those differ, the worse the comps are going to be. And then, like I said, you can other stuff such as you know, the style of the house, the age of the house, things like garages, stuff like that. Better to find ones that are similar in those regards, but those are easier to adjust for, so to speak, because they aren't as fundamental to the house. So again, this is really probably the most important overall number that you need to figure out when you are going to be an investor for moving properties quickly. If you're going to hold stuff for long-term for rentals, it's still important to understand, but it's not as big a decision, or as big a part of the decision as it is if you're looking to move something fairly quickly. So we're going to talk about some other calculations in some future videos that are based around a lot of the stuff with ARV. But for now, that is, like I said, the most important one to start with, and that's a breakdown of how to do it. So if you have any questions about that, as always, place them below. And if there is a topic you would like to see in a future video, you can put it on our Facebook group, post it to our Twitter account, send an email to info@masshomesale.com, or you know, you can put it in the comments here or other video, fill out a form on the website, whatever. Until next time, hope you guys have a good week, and bye-bye.